Quick one, Arsenal fans. Does this concern you? Because when you go through the list of all our goal scorers in all comps, big up Martinelli for his hat-trick, obviously, against, forgot the name now, Portsmouth. He's on 9. Trossard's having a great season. He's on 7. We've done a lot of talking about Gyökeres. He's on 7. Bukayo Saka is on 7. Merino and Eze are on 5. Then you've got Magalhaes. And you can see the list if I move out of here. Now, we know goals come from anywhere. We don't really care if they come from set pieces, dead balls, big up own goals, open play goals, etc, etc. But surely with it now being the second half of the season, individually and collectively, we need our attackers to start finding their feet on a consistent basis. And surely the deeper question has to be on Mikel Arteta and either putting down the handbrake or finding more solutions. Now, granted, that was a talking point last season. It remains one this season. I think in the last few games, it's more of a conversion issue in that Arteta's job is to pattern defence, make sure we can be good in midfield. Once we get into the final third of the opposition's area, you've got to finish. So, yeah, and obviously if you condense this into the Premier League, it probably looks a bit more grim. And despite all of that, we're ticking over, we're doing our thing, and I think we still need to go up several gears. But I just wondered what you lot think. Now, when I posted this video on YouTube, I implored you lot to drop your opinions and let me know exactly how you feel. And it's caused a mixed reaction. Just by going through the comment sections, there's a lot of different points of view as to if this does excite Arsenal fans or scare Arsenal fans. Once again, let me know your thoughts. So with that being said, I thought, you know what, let me do a bit more digging around this. Let me see if we can provide some bit more context behind it. So throughout this video, let's do exactly that. But first, as we go on, it's important to add some context to the numbers. Arsenal have scored a total of 66 goals in 31 matches across all comps in the 2025-26 season. That equates to 40 in the Premier League, 17 in the Champions League, 5 in the League Cup, and 4 in the FA Cup, which gives you a grand total of 66 from 31 games in all comps. As I said, don't forget the 4 in the FA Cup and the 3 goals from Martinelli. Bear that in mind. We've also got 23 goals from set pieces in all comps, the most by any team in Europe's top 5 leagues. I love it. Shout out to own goals as well, which we'll go over. I want to ask you lot, people, when you consider that we've played 6 games in the Champions League and the amount of goals we scored there, why do we appear clinical in the Champions League but not necessarily the Premier League? Is it just one of those things? Is it because of the way European sides set up versus Arsenal? I just want to know, side note, why you lot believe that, if I'm completely honest. So when you look at the numbers, you know, with scoring goals in all competitions, we're flying high, the goals are being shared around. It doesn't appear that we have a goal scoring problem, or do we? Once again, does it feel like we have a goal scoring problem currently? Let me know your thoughts. In the Premier League, we're top of the Premier League. Obviously, 15 wins, 4 draws, 2 L's, 49 points. But when you look at it, our goals are moderate, people. We're averaging 1.8 to 2.0 goals per games. If you lot remember wisely and rightly, there's been a couple of games in all comps where we've battered sides, no complaints, but we've scored 3s and 4s. It just adds even more food for context. I've got another question for you guys. Would you define Gabriel Martinelli as a clinical player or a clinical marksman or clinical? Bearing in mind, he's currently our top goal scorer when you consider all comps. If you do, fair enough. If you don't, fair enough. But let's continue. You know, as I said, he's our top goal scorer. He's got 9 goals from 24 appearances, which is an impressive feat for Martinelli because he's kind of been a rotationary option. It's all been Trossard, rightly so. Where you look at it, though, he's got 1 goal from 16 in the Premier League. You look at Trossard, who, in my opinion, has been our best attacking player this season in its whole entirety. He's got 5 goals in the Premier League, 7 in all comps, people. When you look at the star boy Bukayo Saka, ironically, he wears the number 7. He's on 7, and he's on a 7-game goal drought in terms of the Premier League and scoring goals. Now, I'll always push the PR for Saka. He can do no wrong, in my opinion. He has engineered own goals. He has performed well without necessarily scoring, but he's on a goal drought. So again, have we got a problem or don't we have a problem? Where you look at our big bulldozer striker, Victor Gyökeres, who bagged goals for Coventry, Sporting Lisbon, and also Sweden. And for whether it's him, Mikel Arteta, the dynamics of the Premier League, what we was talking about in terms of creativity last season, he's not been able to bag goals on a consistent basis. Nonetheless, people, despite that, I'm impressed with Gyökeres in that regards because he's also on 7 goals in all comps, but only 5 have been in the Premier League. And when you consider 2 goals came in the game against Leeds, which was our 2nd game of the season, and he's also got 1 goal in his last 8, it gives you even more food for thought. Big up Eze, who's kind of played a bit part role at times this season. He's also got 5 goals in all comps and 4 in the Premier League. But then you break that down even more. 3 came in 1 game, people. Mikel Merino, who's not really been near the first team potentially in terms of starting, and we love what Merino brings. He is on 5 goals in all comps. He has scored some clutch goals, in my opinion, against Newcastle, against Brentford, and in our shoddy performance against Chelsea. Big him up for those 5 goals. But that's him. Gabriel Magalhaes, we all know we'd have a couple of more goals via set pieces had he have not had his injury, but he's on 4, people. He's the poster boy of our set pieces. Declan twice, double deckers. Declan Rice, world class, can get goals, can get assists, can do everything. He's currently on 4 goals. He bagged against his former club, West Ham, but he also bagged against Burnley. Prior to that, people, he went, he went on a bit of a drought before getting 2 against Burnley. Noni Madueke, I've been impressed with him since he signed for our football club and allows us to, manage Saka in particularly very well. He has 3 goals, none of which have came in the Prem in his 12 appearances in the Premier League. Then you look at Jurrien Timber. Now, we like Magalhaes. If you score, it's great, but you're not paid to score goals. You didn't become a professional footballer because you could score goals. He's on 3 goals in all comps. 2 came in the Premier League in that very Leeds game in August, I believe. A bit of a joke, but just because we've become accustomed to seeing both Calafiori and Jurrien Timber in the final third and in the opposition's box statistically, I do think there's a bit of work maybe with shooting and passing Jurrien Timber could do. And we can't not big up own goals because own goals has come in clutch at several points this season. So I'm going to ask you another question. I do love a question. Make sure you're subscribing. Does this feel like solid foundations or seasonal purple patches across our attacking frontline, people? And then I have another question, people. It's only right. If I asked you if Gabriel Martinelli is clinical, would you call Kai Havertz a clinical player? We're all waiting for his, reintegration into the first team on a proper basis. We know the struggles with Gyökeres. We know the role that Mikel Arteta wants from a striker. Probably want to pull Gyökeres out now and blood Kai Havertz. We've got to remember, though, Kai Havertz has only played 56 minutes, I believe, of football in all comps this season. The last time we saw him in the Premier League was in August against Man United. So a bit like with Gabriel Jesus, we're going to have to take time with Kai Havertz. But as I said, if you wouldn't define him as clinical, then what does that make of us generally in the last couple of years, people? Because whether people like Kai Havertz or not, we have to look at the numbers. Like him or not, he got 15 goals in 36 appearances in the 2024-25 season. 9 came in the Premier League. There was a lot of injuries, but this is the video I'm doing right now. We could have done it last year, people. In 23-24, he got 14 in all comps and 13 in the league. Now, if you don't define Kai Havertz as a clinical player, but he's clearly showing he's been more clinical than a lot of his teammates, what does that mean for what we're doing here? And again, people, I'm going to keep asking you lot this. Is this a concern for you? Is it not? Is it a problem that we're sharing the goals around? Or is there something beneath the hood? Again, don't forget to comment and let me know your thoughts. I have another question. Despite whether you're whatever side of the fence you're at, when the chips are down for Arsenal Football Club, when things are going wrong, tactics, whatever have you, for all the players that are up there for goals and have the ability to score and all things of that ilk, when the chips are truly down, which player do you place your hopes on? Because that is an element of us getting over the line. Sometimes you're going to need that. What player would it be? Is it Saka? Is it Gyökeres? Lol, is it Kai? Probably it's Saka for me. Gabriel Magalhaes from a set piece, or just because he's got that clutch ilk in him, even though he's not really been scoring goals like that, probably Declan Rice. Where do you look at it, people? Surely the players we've got, the manager we've got, there's a lot more to give. And again, everything we're talking about this season and in this video, we probably were speaking about it last year, maybe even the season before. Collectively, we'd scored more goals year on year out and got better and all those things. But individually, the numbers have dropped. It can't all be on the players and it can't be all on the manager. Either way, it's their job to figure it out, people. As I said, when the chips are down, who are you looking at? Where are you looking at? It's the best example. Liverpool in the 0-0 comes to mind, where clearly for both teams, things aren't going right. Who's got that bit of individual quality to bag us a goal or take one of the chances, people? Not just Magalhaes' chance towards the end of the game, people. So you can look at it 2 ways. And how do you look at it? Do you look at it that we have different goal scorers contributing, or have we got different goal scorers, but we don't have a consistent firing one? think about, yeah, that fixture list, that run of games that we had, people, Chelsea, Brentford, Aston Villa, Wolves, Everton, Brighton. We won a lot of those. We only lost against Villa, but how many of those games were on knife edge? How many times that we didn't really create much, but we had chances towards the end of the game to nick it? Or how many games were in that period where we dominating the first half or dominating large proceedings, but we didn't put daylight between the two sides, putting balls in the back of the net and ultimately scoring goals? Or, things of that ilk. Manchester City at the Emirates comes to mind, where we had domination in the second half. One does wonder, if we did have a bit of clinicalness, what would have happened? Different game, but the 0-0 against Liverpool. Now, Chelsea in that draw, we were not good at all, but we could have put our best foot forward anyways. And if we was a bit more clinical with maybe a Timber or a Gyökeres, what would have happened, people? So it all depends, people. For me, we got the games in attack. We marry that with what we've got defensively. Simply put, there's less games on knife edge. And as much as I like everything we're doing at this football club, attack is a form of defense. And it feels like that's the one that we need to unlock, people. I don't even care that we're reliant on set pieces. I don't care about set pieces, own goals, who scores, just that we score. I want to get over the line. But I can't sit here and act like my eyes are lying to me, because we are probably at times this season struggle to create and convert goals from open play and just fashion clear-cut chances, whether that's down for the individuals or the system. So that would obviously be for the collective. And if I'm saying all of this, at the time of making this vid, we're 6 points top of the Premier League. We're still in all comps. Imagine if we get our act together, where we'd be. There could be several reasons as to why we're having this conversation, or as to why on the face of it, it doesn't appear that we've got a goal scoring issue. But when you look beneath the hood, it could be that. Is it player adaptation and simply form and obviously injuries and things of that ilk? Is it potentially opposition tactics and the way they set up against us? Could you even say maybe there's a inflexibility from our manager, Mikel Arteta, or a tactical rigidness that needs to be addressed? Because when you look at our XG, the biggest gift and curse is we're actually underperforming in that regards, people, which suggests that we're creating chances, but we're not finishing. Maybe the fact that we've conceded 14 in the Premier League and have a solid defense kind of, what would be the right way of framing it, kind of substitutes for the goal scoring. But at the end of the day, football's decided in both ends. And when you think of Arsenal, there's many things to like. Many people would speak about our defensive ethos from the goalkeeper all the way to the striker. I want to look at my team in the same vein as our attackers, because these players are too good not to be doing such. Now, this is a completely random part, people, but, our goals are probably skewed towards the second half. 65% of goals for Arsenal have come after half-time. This pattern probably suggests that we often break down defenses later on in games as they begin to tire, or there's tactical adjustments or impacts via substitutions, people. The average minutes of goals is around 53 minutes, people, data suggests, people. So there's maybe something to be said in that. Then you look at the 65% in the second half, we only score 35% in the first half, which sometimes, where games have been, from an Arsenal perspective, one-way traffic, it probably makes the games more knife-edgy than it needs to be. Brighton comes to mind, Wolves comes to mind, etc., 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 people. So you could also say it's the players, because the second half, I feel the manager has to hold their hands. The players, you've been preparing for something all week. You've been briefed going into the game, and obviously once you cross that chalk, you need to do it yourself, people. So there's many different factors around this, people, and then you wonder how much potentially falls on Mikel Arteta. I'm not going to put a number on it, but he is the manager, so you could say 60-70%. The bulk falls there. His tactics have obviously at times prioritized control over risk. Obviously, there's a time and a place. I do think at times our attacking phases of play have been a bit predictable, if I'm honest with you. The build-up play probably could be a bit better. And you could simply put, say, after 6 years, failing to produce, a prolific goal scorer or having one could be pointed down to systemic issues, people. But then you look at our defensive solidity and you look how good we are from set pieces. It's not all negative. You could also say a vast majority of it is on the players, to be honest, 30-40%, because at the end of the day, these players are big enough, old enough. Individually, they're good. Collectively, they've not made the difference for whatever reason, whether some players have had to adapt, players have been injured, players have been in and out of form, whatever have you. But the main thing is we're all in this together. Mikel Arteta, the players, the fans, we share the W's, we share the L's. And this is in the second half of the season where I needed to see it kind of go up, people.